Well, thank you so much for taking time to welcome us into your office. We appreciate it. And I want to get right into it because obviously a big week in calls for defunding Planned Parenthood. This is something that you have worked years on and something that you've worked tirelessly at. Tell me about why it's important for something to be done about Planned Parenthood.
Well, even prior to what came out in the last couple of days, as you've already said, it is something that I've worked on for a very long time. Planned Parenthood gets a lot of money from the federal government, from the taxpayer dollar. They fund over 300,000 abortions a year, and this is not health care. Title X funding was set up originally for family planning and health care. Abortions are not health care. And so I don't believe that the American people should be funding something that is not health care. The money should be going toward its original intent in Title X, and that is to fund healthy families.
And you introduced a bill during the start of the new Congress. Tell me a little bit about that.
To defund Planned Parenthood. And
yes.
This is something that the very first bill that I offered here in Congress was to do just that. And I have been working on this for 5 years. We have once again offered this bill. And I think that what has happened in the last couple of days has just shown that that's what we need to do. We need to take these taxpayer dollars and put them toward health and not death.
What do you say to the people who say, well, you know, organizations like Planned Parenthood provide health services for minority and poor communities, and if you take that away, you're going to take away from the services that are being offered. Is that true?
Those services that were intended in Title I that are family planning for healthy families are available in state health departments, federally qualified health departments, and there are services out there to do what Planned Parenthood says that they do. They don't do mammograms, as has been said in the past, but again, these are other services, other health services that can be found in other places. But my bill simply says that if you're providing abortions, then your particular organization is not eligible for federal funds.
Mm-hmm.
And these services, as I've already said, are available with taxpayer dollars that are being used both at the state and the federal level in other facilities.
Now, you were a nurse for 40 plus years,
right.
and obviously you have an extensive experience with health services. Have you, in your time as a nurse and even your time in Congress, have you seen as big of a call as we're seeing now to defund Planned Parenthood and to do something about this organization?
I think the exposure of what is really happening at Planned Parenthood is making people more aware
mm-hmm.
of just what they are doing. And money is fungible, so they say they don't use the money for abortions, and yet on one side of the clinic they're doing what they make the public believe is the essential piece of what their programs are. And on the other side, they're doing these abortions. So money is fungible back and forth. We did a GAO, we asked for a GAO report, and the report came back to say, yes, this money is fungible, and that some of our dollars are going to these 300,000 plus abortions that are done every year.
Tell me a little bit about what questions should be asked during the congressional investigation. We're hearing that Energy and Commerce is going to launch a full investigation. What are the questions that need to be answered?
I think one of the first questions is that I have already represented is, how do you keep track of the money? How do you say that this money is only going to healthy families, which, again, Title X, when it was set up, and it's very clear, it was on, if you go back and you look at the website, that's what it says, is for healthy families. How is that money being used just to do that? And not do abortions, those 300,000 plus abortions that are done every year. So I think that would be the first thing. And then I think the exposure of what has come out in this film, to ask questions about that. Are you selling body parts? It's pretty clear on this film when the person that's being interviewed, the doctor, says, oh, well, just depending upon the part, the body part, oh, maybe $30 up to $100 depending on the part. This, first of all, we know is illegal to sell body parts. And I know that Planned Parenthood says that there are some minor dollars when anybody has a donation, an organ donation. But when you are negotiating and saying to that person that is interviewing you, well, it just depends. You know, we get $30 for this body part, you know, up to $100 for that. I think these are questions that need to be asked. We also know there are some things that have happened in Planned Parenthood that have been exposed in years past that they should be asking questions about the kinds of information that are given to young women. There was a young girl who was raped and that was not reported. We know that these kinds of things are happening, and they may say they're isolated, but even if they're isolated, they should know what's going on in their clinics.
All right. Thank you so much for taking time with me. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome.